The Hunter Biden House of Cards continues to crumble around Washington, D.C. Joe Biden and others starting to perk up a little bit now that the prosecution is picking up. We've got Ron Klain, the White House chief of staff, here over the weekend speaking with George Stephanopolous. We've got 3 actual questions from George, but he squeezed them into about 60 seconds so that Ron Klain didn't have to talk about this issue. Let's break those down one by one. Here is Ron.
We also know the Justice Department is intensifying its investigation into Hunter Biden, the president's son. I assume the president has had no contact with the Justice Department about that?
Listen how quick this is.
Neither the president or any of us at the White House have had any contact with the Justice Department about that.
All right, so that's the first question. Now, that is from George Stephanopolous, specifically giving the White House and Ron Klain an opportunity to make sure there is some real distance between the White House and the Justice Department, because obviously this could be a pretty big conflict of interest, right? Think about this. We've got Joe Biden, who is father to Hunter Biden, who is son. Pretty clear there. We also have Joe Biden, who happens to be the president of the country. President runs the executive branch. Justice Department runs under the executive branch. Merrick Garland runs the Justice Department. Okay, we're following along. Now, we also have the Justice Department has apparently confirmed that Hunter Biden is under investigation from the Justice Department for tax evasion and for a lot of other problems out of the Delaware District Attorney's office. Now we see how the full circle comes into fruition. We see Joe Biden runs the Justice Department investigating the Hunter Biden department, who is the son of the president. A little bit of a conflict of interest there. What happens if Joe Biden kind of elbows or leans on the Justice Department to go one way or the other on Hunter? See where that problem might arise? So what happened here, George Stephanopolous, you're not working with them at all, right? Like nobody's even talking about this. No memo landed on Merrick Garland's desk or the White House desk. Nobody's even talking about this, right? Because remember what we heard the entirety of the time that Donald Trump was in office was all of this sessions and all of this sort of bias, unethical prosecution. Donald Trump's firing everybody and leaning on people from the Justice Department to go after his political enemies. And that was a big no-no. But now we don't have special counsel. We don't have a special prosecutor who's appointed in any of this stuff yet, do we? No, we don't. We just have the Biden's words that they have arm's length distance on this entire investigation. Do you believe that for a minute? I don't. But George asked the question. Ron Klain answered it. Nice job there, Ron. We have another question that comes over saying, all right, there, Ron. I've got another question for you that I need you to answer very quickly so we can move on. He says specifically, does the president have any concerns that Hunter Biden broke the law? Here's what Ron says.
Is the president confident Hunter Biden didn't break the law?
Confident, yeah.
Of course the president's confident that his son didn't break the law. But most importantly, as I said, that's a matter that's going to be decided by the Justice Department, by the legal process. It's something that no one at the White House has involvement in.
Yeah, we have no idea what the heck's going on over there. And so did he break the law? Pretty confident that he didn't, right? Absolutely confident that he did it. So now we start to see no contact with the Justice Department, no contact in terms of a violation of the law. How about ethical problems? Anything ethically problematic?
The Washington Post also reported this week on deals that Hunter Biden had with a Chinese energy company, paid $4.8 million to entities controlled by Hunter and the president's brother.
Come on,
Ron.
Is
the president confident his family didn't cross any ethical lines?
George, the president is confident that his family did the right thing. But again, I want to be really clear. These are actions by Hunter and his brother. They're private matters. They don't involve the president. And they certainly are something that no one at the White House is involved in.
Oh, well, that's very curious. So nobody at the White House is involved in this. No ethical boundaries crossed, no legal boundaries crossed. President says that stands by them, confident no law breaking took place, and even goes so far as to say the president says that his family did the right thing, whatever that happens to mean. So let's break this down a little bit because we have a lot of stuff that is continuing to leak out that the White House is not happy about. We saw Byron York posted this a few days ago, said Senator Grassley brought receipts back during that Senate hearing, says there's no middleman in this transaction. Take a look at this document. Says this is $100,000 from what is effectively an arm of the communist Chinese government direct to Hunter Biden. The liberal media and my Democratic colleagues, he asks, is this official bank document Russian disinformation? Can you help me with this one? I can't tell. I'm confused. Here he pulls it up. $100,000 subtraction, domestic wire out. goes to Wells Fargo clearing services. We got a $30 domestic wire fee. Now look at the bottom of the poster. The originator, CEFC. Isn't that interesting? Yeah, that is the Chinese infrastructure investment oil company. It's that massive conglomerate we've talked about previously on this channel. And it's going back right over $100,000 over to New York. You can see now, this is what Grassley is saying is a $100,000 transaction to Hunter. And so Ron Klain would take a look at this and say, well, that was in, what was that, 2004 or 2008? Maybe April. August 4, 2017. All right. So they might say, well, Joe Biden's not in office there. You know, this is Hunter Biden doing his nefarious misdeeds without Joe Biden knowing anything about this. And so, Rob, that's what Ron Klain just said. This is all arm's length distancing. His crackhead son was just doing all of this stuff on his own, was not trading on his father's name. The big guy had nothing to do with any of this. Well, a lot of people are poking around and finding stories like this that appeared some time ago. Back in 2019, before the election took place, people were writing saying that Biden's trip to China with his son Hunter in 2013, when he was in the White House, comes under new scrutiny. The Biden's trip to China. Ron Klain just said that that money that Hunter got had nothing to do with Joe. Well, this is weird. Looks like Hunter may have gone over there with Joe to China when Joe was still vice president. And this was written back in 2019. Much of this was all smearing Trump, right? Amid unproven Trump claims, they wrote back in 2019, because Trump's just a liar. The overseas trip is generating new attention over Hunter's business dealings. Yeah. At the time, it seemed mildly noteworthy, but not particularly unusual. Then Vice President Joe Biden, traveling along to China for an official visit, brought his son Hunter along. Well, that's nice. You know, it's a family trip going over to China. What wasn't known then was that he accompanied his father to China. Hunter Biden was forming a private equity fund in China that was Chinese, that associates said at the time was planning to raise big money, including from China. Hunter Biden acknowledged the meeting with Jonathan Lee, a Chinese banker, and his partner in the fund during the trip, although his spokesman says it was just a social visit. Okay. The Chinese business license that brought the new fund into existence was issued by Shanghai authorities 10 days later after the trip. Hunter Biden's on the board of the company, and he was just going over there with daddy to go check out the Great Wall. All right. So you can see Joe Biden was complicit in this. And this is back in 2000. When was this? 2013. So Joe Biden wasn't, he's always had some cognitive difficulties, but they've been escalating in recent years. So you can see now, kind of looks like he was complicit in this, doesn't it? 10 days after that China trip visit, Hunter Biden comes back with his license. Oh, look what I've got. And then he's getting hundreds of thousands of dollars from these people. Joe knew all about it, Ron. You know he did. And now what they're trying to do is create massive distance between the two. To say, oh, no, it's totally, Hunter's just, he's on his own. This is not going to take down the whole administration, even though they're directly connected. Meanwhile, as the White House continues to sort of cover all this up, headlines are breaking that Hunter Biden is just lounging it up over there on Malibu, on the beach, with the Secret Service, renting $30,000 a month living spaces. $30,000 a month for those Secret Service agents, man. They are living lavishly over there. It's a good job. Secret Service renting a $30,000 Malibu pad to protect Hunter. My goodness. Taxpayers shelling out more than $30,000 a month to the Secret Service so they can rent an estate in the upscale celebrity enclave in Malibu to protect Hunter Biden. Who's a celebrity? He's a famous artist, by the way. His gallery is filled with COVID mucus paintings over at the George S. Burgess Gallery in New York, who's living nearby in, quote, a resort-style home with enchanting panoramic views of the Pacific Ocean. It's perfect for Hunter. It's good. He can do his artwork out there and write his poetry. Typically, wherever a protectee sets up their residence, the Secret Service is forced to find someplace to rent nearby at a market value. Don Mihalik told the network, saying, none of this is weird. This isn't new. The service has had to do this with past administrations, and unfortunately, the housing market right now has driven up prices substantially. And this is true, right? We heard this all the time with Donald Trump, saying that he was making them rent his hotels, and, they were racking up property values, and he's ripping off the American. We heard these stories endlessly. And so we're going to hear about the opposite direction, right? What's good for the goose is good for the gander, whatever. Hunter Biden has come under intense scrutiny for his business dealings in Ukraine. This, however, is not usual, right? We don't see sort of a similarity here. Yes, maybe both administrations waste the American taxpayers' dollars. I don't have any doubt about that. I think every single politician does, as far as I can tell. So Trump or any one of them, right? They're all wasting our money all the time. So what's the difference? But here we do have a little bit of a difference. What happened with Trump and his kids was I think they had a bad meeting at Trump Tower with somebody who might have been from Russia. I guess. Hunter Biden is under federal investigation for tax evasion. He was plundering money from other countries, selling American secrets or whatever, access, under investigation by the feds for allegations of tax frauds. So that's kind of not the same thing as having a meeting in Trump Tower between Don Jr. and whoever that Russian ambassador was. Has been whiling away. He's been paying $20,000 a month. Hunter has. Secret Service $50,000 a month. I wonder if they're out there partying over there in Malibu. The mansion, located on nearly an acre atop a hill in the coastal community, features a spacious park-like yard. Nice. With a pool, built-in barbecue bar. The listing also touts the home's enchanting 180-degree panoramic views. Sounds beautiful. Yeah, the First Son's federal security detail, reportedly ensconced next door to a Spanish-style estate, has its gorgeous ocean view, 6 bedrooms, 6 bathrooms, a gym, a tasting room, a built-in barbecue, a pool, and a spa. Mile away from the ocean. Here's what it looks like. Well, isn't that nice? Hunter Biden's resort-style home. And it must be this property right here. Yeah, that's pretty good. It's good to be the president's son, man. Making that, was it $50,000 a month off of Ukraine, Burisma, $100,000. The Chinese were also sending him diamonds and things. Yeah. Good to be Hunter. Now, as we mentioned at the start of this segment, we had a question about those conflict of interest. Joe Biden runs the Justice Department investigating Hunter. Ipso facto, follow the bouncing ball. Looks like we might have a conflict here. Jonathan Turley noticed that too. Says Biden's, quote, absolute defense of Hunter leaves the media and the Justice Department in a bit of a muddle. Says, look, it's hard to imagine a stronger case for special counsel being appointed here. Any effort to investigate Hunter Biden's dealings will lead to investigators to encounter repeated references to the president, like the big guy, and how he may have benefited from those schemes. At the same time, the president is, quote, absolutely standing by his denial that his son did anything wrong or made any money from China. And that was a statement that Kate Bedingfield, store brand Saki, was out there saying they stand by. He didn't make any money from China. We have receipts. I just showed it at the beginning of this segment. Chuck Grassley presented it in the Senate. White House statement this week serves as a reminder to investigators the president is heavily invested in this narrative, and he's denying the facts. And Turley is quick to note, look, the current attorney, Weiss, over out of the Delaware district, is probably doing a great job. Not saying that he's not going to be independent or all. However, there is some concern that this might cross the boundaries a little bit. Garland, writes Turley, pledged to protect the Justice Department from any of these conflicts. He's now saying that the president is standing by, quote, absolutely untrue statements. Writes, if Garland declines to appoint a special counsel, he's going to fail on his pledge to do justice. And I think he's right. Ron Klain can be out there saying that the president is disconnected from Hunter Biden all he wants, but I think the facts show differently. We see a lot of evidence that Hunter Biden was saving 10% for the big guy, or that Hunter was basically the bagman for Joe Biden, carrying everything around, paying off his expenses, gobbling up the money. It was all being siphoned between Hunter and James Biden. They were making money hand over fist, delivering no value other than access and getting things through. Corrupt as can be, but we'll see if anything comes of it. Currently, this administration that has promised us sort of, a new way of doing things Seems like they're covering up for their son pretty well. No special counsel. Do you think one will be appointed? I don't know. We'll see. You think Hunter's going to get indicted? We'll see. I look forward to following it along. I hope you do too. I'd love it if you left a comment and hit the subscribe button, because I look forward to seeing you on the next one.